Hello everyone, my name is Jeff, and this is the Sarazanmai episode 11 review. With me, as always, are Coby and Torie. Welcome to the show, guys.
Hi, happy to be here, as always.
Me too, I guess.
You sound like we dragged you here.
I seem more happy than Torie to be here.
I wonder if it has anything to do with the episode.
Let's find out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Spoiler alert. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, okay. That's a lot of mixed messages, but all right, well, the episode begins where we left off with Toi being swallowed up by the Dark Kappa. And in the Dark Kappa, it's like a totally different realm where you can go back in time and kill your past self, thereby removing your connections with the people that you met with. And that's what Toi does with the gun. He solves all his problems with the gun.
With the gun, right? The gun that's been teased throughout this past few episodes become the symbol of him wiping away his past because it gets a cool glittery makeover.
The gun. You mean the gun that the cops were using?
No, that's his gun that he's been hiding since all this whole time in his bag and.
Oh yeah, well that's what I figured. I mean, I thought it was just like a representation of that gun. Whatever. It's the gun that he used to shoot people, lots of people, kill people.
Lots of people.
And now himself.
He's pointing the gun inward. I suppose you'd say.
Nabu.
So was the point that after he shot all of his connections, he would just die?
Yeah.
Mabu.
Yeah, existence is pain. Even though he connected to these friends of his, it was too painful because... Wait, why? So he's mad at the other people. Why? Is it because they used the wish on Kazuki instead of using the wish for himself and his brother?
Is that the reason? Because I don't understand. Because he said he mentioned somewhere in this episode that because they betrayed me or because you betrayed me, but I don't remember how he was betrayed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and later on, his darkness self shoots his brother, which I thought, well, wasn't that the reason why he wanted to connect with his brother? He wanted to bring him back, and now he wants to get rid of him.
Well, I like that part of the episode when he shoots his brother because these 11 episodes have proven that he has this unhealthy dependence on his brother, and he's no longer connected to him. That was his way of kind of overcoming the shadow of his brother and to finally wipe his hands clean and be his own man. But he's still, a miserable person who wants to erase himself. But at least I like that part because he continued on his journey by himself. Like he was making decisions for himself, and it wasn't his brother telling him what to do.
Maybe that's why in the end he does Sarazanmai to, get back to his normal self, because he doesn't have his brother looming over him and putting darkness inside of him.
Yeah, maybe, but I just still don't understand why he was having an issue with Kazuki and Enta.
Well, I don't think he had a big issue, because even at the end when they saved Enta and he was like, I understand your decision, he didn't seem that upset. And then the shadow monster just gave him his arm and he took it and he's like, see ya. And I think maybe he was manipulated by the darkness during this whole scene, and that's why he's doing all of this.
Well, yeah.
I think, is it because he had, through his desire to connect, because I think that's the overall point, right? It's like connection brings love, but it also brings pain, and you gotta suffer through the pain if you want the love, and that's okay. It's okay to have pain in your life. But he approached it as he gave up his connection with his brother to connect with these guys, but then he had that painful feeling and he wanted to, he couldn't bear it, so he wanted to get out. If that makes sense.
I know, I see what you're saying. So, yeah, okay, so existence and connection is pain, and he just didn't want any of that, essentially, even with his friends.
He was able to, the pain that it caused of him to separate from his brother and connect with people was too much for him. So he was like, I want to nope out of existence.
I guess I can accept that.
I like it better that darkness Kappa manipulated with his thoughts, because it seems like
that's easier to explain over.
He transitioned so quickly into... he was like, I want to connect with my brother, and I still feel bad for my friends, to fuck it all, and I want to give it all up.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, one of the things I was confused about was, so he was being talked to by his brother, which was basically just the otter in disguise. So that angle of him being manipulated by the otter kind of makes sense to me. But then he ends up shooting his brother, which is the otter. But after that, he continues killing his past self, or tries to continue killing his past self. And the last remaining memory he has with Kazuki and Enta was him giving his Mikanga to Kazuki. So even, free of his influence from his brother, he still wanted to end his connection with Kazuki and Enta.
I say free quotation marks. I don't think he was still free. I think he was still being manipulated, and he was still in that Shadowland with the magical gun.
Well, he was definitely in the Shadowland with the mystic.
Yeah, so he was still under the darkness influence. I don't think he was free from it just by shooting his brother.
Yeah, I'm going to chalk it up to the show wanting to have its cake and eat it too, I guess, in terms of him overcoming his relationship with his brother, but then still have the plot of him trying to erase himself from history so his friends could save him, because they needed to resolve both of those plot lines, and so they were able to do both. At least that's the way I see
like
it.
that.
Yeah, I never saw much of a tension between Toi and how he connected with Kazuki and Enta. This, except for in the beginning. I mean, towards the end, I suppose there was some tension there, kind of in between the lines, where when Toi left, maybe he was kind of jealous of Kazuki and Enta's connection to each other, even though he had a prior connection to them, and Kazuki didn't remember him, so maybe that's why. Because even though he's a very sullen boy, he's really sensitive, He doesn't like being forgotten by his best friend. And maybe that's why, that's the pain that he's feeling, I guess.
And that goes back to what my thought overall that I thought would have made this stronger. Should Toi have been more of the focus than Kazuki in the early episodes? Should it have been like Toi's story more so than Kazuki's?
I guess so. I don't know. I mean, because Kazuki's... I feel like Kazuki's story wraps up pretty nicely around the midpoint of the anime. And then he has nowhere to really go.
He overcomes his problems.
Yeah. And it's kind of the same thing with Enta. Like, I don't think his problem is ever resolved. So it makes sense for him to be kind of a side character. And to have Toi be the guy that's always in conflicts, I guess would make sense to have the focus more on him in the beginning. But there was a fair amount of focus on him still. He was like this, wasn't he the second? Like he was like the third Sarazanmai leak, I believe. And that's
which one?
Toi.
Toi, yeah, Toi was the third one. That's just weird, but it's just I'm thinking of the show like in terms if different. Like imagine if Kazuki was the one somehow, because he's the main character. If he was the one tempted by darkness, and then Toi and Enta are the ones who go in to save him to establish the value of connection. I think that's a more earned storyline compared to, because we started this with Kazuki struggling to connect, and if this whole show's about Kazuki's journey, instead of what you said of him wrapping up pretty early on, like the episode like 5 or 6, like he's done, he's learned his lesson about connection. I don't know if that would have made it stronger in my eyes if like the roles were reversed, and Toi, the one who seems like the emo goth kid who does have trouble connecting, has to be the one to pull Kazuki out of it. More so than what we got.
I don't know. Sorry, Torie. What were you saying?
I was just gonna say maybe if they all had some darkness turmoil at the end. I mean, they kind of did when they flushed everybody down the butt tubes and started having them forget their memories. Well, maybe if they're all tempted by darkness to their selfish desires or their reasons to not be connected. Because I mean, Enta was kind of feeling that too. That's why he stole the dishes, right? I guess, maybe.
He stole it out of jealousy. So, I don't know. I think the main problem is that this show it's missing stuff. I just feel like it's got some patchwork that needs to be done to make it more whole, to make the story flow better. Like, to me, the second half of the show it doesn't feel as complete as the first half. And so that would probably be one of the main criticisms I have about the show.
You think it's like a length issue? Like if there's more episodes?
No. I think they had a good amount of time to do everything they wanted to do. It's just I think they were focusing more on visual spectacle as opposed to logical progression. Like I guess skipping ahead, like towards the finale where people were flying around, colors were shooting everywhere, and there was some epic music in the background. There was Sarazanmai and all that. Like, I felt something there.
Yeah, I did.
And
yeah, it was pretty.
Yeah, it was
cool.
like, it was effective in evoking emotion from me. But afterwards, now that we're discussing this episode, and when I think about it, it just questions linger in my mind. Like, what does that make sense? Does this feel right?
What the fuck?
I don't know.
Was it earned?
Yeah.
That's always my question. It's like, was it earned at the end? And I actually think that, and like watching, I guess, I think when I was watching Kappa fight his darkness, and like it's like, oh, it's time to connect with my darkness. Like that was like the overarching plot thread, but that was rushed through to get to the point where, good Kappa versus bad Kappa, where it was overall like kind of an afterthought that you're like, oh yeah, that has to wrap up and do this here. So I actually think if this was a full season anime, if this was like 24 episodes, I think it would have been stronger, because I think they could have had time to flesh out the arcs. I'm not saying that they couldn't do it in 11 episodes, but I'm saying that they had so much story in this 11 episodes, so much plot and so much like random stuff that's happening, that I think that they could have easily have made this 24 episodes and fleshed out more of just the overall Kappa battle with the otter, the cops storyline, to have it more impactful to like the main story. And just Toi's relationship with his brother into these connections, and then give Enta some type of resolve. I'm not saying all that could not have been done in 11 episodes, because it easily could have. We've watched animes where that's totally possible to do. But I just think with this sort of just great big mythology type driven story, that I wouldn't have minded if it was 24 episodes.
Yeah, I mean, one of our commenters actually noted that there is a sort of a plot line revealed about the cops and their relationship in like a spin-off manga or something, and like I guess
I heard they had their own
like the creator shares it on his Twitter or something like that. So there's like some side stories in here that weren't fully explored in the anime, and I guess like I don't know, maybe I just kind of feel like this anime was half-baked.
Yeah,
like it was almost finished, but there were just some ideas that were not fully articulated. Like, I feel like the creator was like, he knew what he wanted to express and what he wanted his viewers to feel. He just didn't know how to get there completely. And
even 11 episodes is weird.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's weird. But I guess the best way to summarize all of this and think of how everything is kind of half-baked is you're right, the Kappa battle. Like, these whole Shira Kadomi things that have been popping up, the desired monsters and the otter battle, like all of this has been like the looming darkness that had to come on and finally combat, and then all Kappa Prince has to do is suck up his bad Kappa and combined with him, and then the otter's defeated. Like, he knew where his darkness Kappa was all this time. Why didn't he just do that? Like, come on.
Did he know where it was all the time?
I mean, he showed them where it was.
I thought they went down to the sewer and they're like, oh, this is the darkness that I have to fight.
Do you think they just found it there?
Yeah, I don't know. I
don't know. This anime, I think we can all agree, it lacks something. There's some missing threads, and that's why we keep. That's kind of why we keep trying to interpret things, and we keep trying to like maybe replace certain things or think of how else it could have been written. It just proves to me that this was not fleshed out enough to make a cohesive story in the end. Yeah. I mean, that being said, though, I guess the rest of the episode was pretty cool because of the visuals.
Yeah, it was very beautiful.
It was.
And I really liked how I think my favorite element was when Nabu and Ryo like came back, I guess, and then like they helped them out. It's like that was a nice moment, but also how they incorporated their song into the score of the show, like while they were working. Like they combined it with the already playing music. They gave the beats of it. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah, the music in the show is really cool. Mm-hmm. It's a really good soundtrack, that's for sure. And that music in the background combined with all the crazy visual flourishes we've come to expect, I think made for it was an entertaining finale. I mean, I guess that's all I really wanted. And that's what the show is it's just a crazy visual show that has some, emotional moments in there that make you feel things, even though you kind of question it sometimes afterwards.
Well, what you're talking about isn't really the final parts of the show. Like, it ends on... So, okay. Toi goes to juvie.
Yeah, he goes to juvie.
They spend a long time for him in juvie. Like 3 minutes of him just showing him in juvie life.
They had to fill out the credits, and they're just like, let's just have some static zoom out shots of Toi looking out the window.
I like that because it showed. I was okay with the long shots of him in juvie because it shows that he was alone. He was isolated in juvie for 3 years, but his connection with the kids and the boys were so strong that that's what he was able to get through it at. Like anybody else goes through that and you're isolated, your connections are gone, but he has renewed faith in his connections and he's able to get through it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with it either because it's in the credits.
I have a problem with it.
You just didn't like watching it?
Do you have a problem? It's like the end credits and then there's a scene and then they play the main OP again
and
at
then there's
the
a
end,
small clip.
and then there's another scene after that. It's fun. But can you guys, because of the ending, because I'm dense as a brick, can you explain? So, from my interpretation of the ending itself, it was that in connections there is pain and there is love, and they saw possible futures of themselves where they're probably going to go through all those hardships that we saw, like all those tear down emotional moments where they don't want to see each other anymore, where they're going to give it up, where they're going to go through all this stuff. Like those are all possibilities, but if they work at it, there's still a chance that they can still all three still be together and play soccer together on a big stage. So that's like a possible future. They just got to go through the pain because that's what connection is. Is that accurate?
Makes sense to me.
Yeah, I think that's perfectly correct.
Yes, well articulated. I mean, yeah, I guess that is the theme of the show. You've nailed it, Coby.
Well,
the show's perfect now. Thank you.
What's his face? Haruka, the kid. Which I forgot to mention this last episode. When did Sarah Dish and the brother become best friends?
Oh yeah, suddenly he can see the Kappas. He's like, oh, it's the little prince and the little princess.
Yeah.
How does Haruka see that?
And they hang out and talk to each other throughout this episode and last episode.
I thought there was a scene of them meeting, and which he watches her turn into the Kappa though. Like,
well,
wasn't that?
No, they did meet each other at the meet and greet.
Yeah.
Well, I mean like after that, I thought like Haruka is like there, and she sees the princess turn into the princess Kappa.
I don't remember that.
I think you're imagining that scene.
I'm just dreaming of Sarazanmai.
You're filling in all the holes of the story.
But he states that after I think they're seeing, he's like, I get it now. It's about what I want, what I can make my future, blah, blah, blah. So I think you and him have the same message.
I can walk now. And then he tries to get it.
He rolls off the bridge. He's like, I can do it. And he falls off.
And then he fails.
But yeah, your life is how you make it, I guess.
Yeah, it's all about the friends that you made along the way. Mm-hmm. That's what it's all about. Well, I mean, I don't really know what else to say about the actual episode, so do you guys just want to give your short review on the show?
Sure. You can go first, Coby.
Yeah. Sarazanmai, it started off as a whirlwind in my eyes. Like it had an amazing first run of episodes where I did not know what to expect. It kept getting crazier and it left in cliffhangers where I was just like, whoa, like he's a crossdresser. Whoa, he's in love with his best friend. Whoa, Toi killed a guy. Like there were plot elements that kept me coming back every week. It kind of tapered off after that point. Like it couldn't match the excitement of the opening episodes. But I will say I respect this anime a lot for having as deep, or at least attempting to have as deep of a theme about connection and pain and love and like what that truly means, wrapped around a show about, kappas and butts and turning into creatures and wacky animation and comedy. It didn't always work, but I would rather watch like this type of show that swings for the fences in terms of big themes and wacky, crazy, funny animation, than like a different show. Like I really enjoyed this.
All right.
And
how about you, Torie?
I think it was a good watch. That's pretty much it.
Nice review.
And I'm just kidding.
It's a good watch.
It's a good watch. It for me, I like my my shows to make sense. I like to put sense to things, and when there is no sense, it drives me crazy. Like, I'm just there wondering, like, what is going on? What were they thinking? Why are they doing this? This doesn't make any sense. What's going on?
You're the logical one here.
I am the logical one here. So if there's no logic, I'm just sitting there trying to make logic out of it, and I guess it ruins it for me. I do like the visuals. It's very beautiful. I do like all the wacky elements. It was just pure fun to watch, and the songs were catchy. I just wish it made more sense. And because it doesn't make sense, it makes me less inclined to, I don't know, recommend it to people, because it doesn't, like, they could watch an episode one day and watch an episode another day, and it doesn't really make a difference. So it's not like something that I should be like, you should go watch this series from start to finish. It'll change your life. It's just like, watch it. It's kind of funny. People go up other people's butts.
Okay.
People go up other people's butts.
Yeah,
Yes,
they go up
they
their
do.
assholes. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, so I think this anime has great animation, great soundtrack, really good first half, second half, and there are worse animes you could watch to spend your time, which is to say, I think that overall, the entire package, I think it's a solid show. And there are things in this show that you won't see anywhere else. It's definitely unique.
Yeah.
That's for sure. And I do respect it for that as well. So yeah, I would say if someone were to ask me, should I watch Sarazanmai? I'd say yes. I think you should watch it. I think you should experience Sarazanmai. And then that's what I'd say.
Okay, so we've watched. Our weekly reviews have been Megalobox, Cells at Work, Zombieland Saga. This was there another one, or did we start with Megalobox?
Did you say Promise?
Oh, and Promise Neverland. Rank them, I guess. Rank those 5.
Shit, I don't have the list in front of me.
So Cells at Work, Megalobox, Promise Neverland.
Oh my god.
This show, and one more.
Here, Coby, why don't you go first?
Zombieland Saga.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna say Promise Neverland number 1.
I can agree with that.
I'm gonna say Megalobox number 5, like the last one.
Mine would be near the end as well.
And then we have this one, Zombieland Saga, and Cells at Work.
This would be number 4.
I would put this one at 4 or 3. I put Zombieland Saga at 4. I think.
Zombieland.
No, are we? Number 1's the best, right? Is
number 1's the best.
Okay, then I put it at number 2 for Zombieland Saga.
Okay.
Number 3,
Sarazanmai.
Sarazanmai.
Oh, okay. I would put Cells at Work
Cells at
before.
Work is 2.
You just meant
you
mix it all up.
4.
Whatever. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. I would just put Cells at Work before this one.
Really?
Yeah.
This would be my number 3, I suppose, and 2 is Zombieland Saga as well.
See, I think I would put Zombieland Saga below this one just because I was so excited for that first half of. It was very similar situation to this, where the first half of Zombieland Saga and the first half of this got me so excited. Like, I was thinking for Zombieland Saga, I'm like, what is this show? Are we gonna have different musical styles like every week? And I was like so excited for all of that, and then it was still good. It just didn't follow through as much. Same with this show. It's like, everything there. But my expectations were higher for Zombieland Saga, and they fell farther in Zombieland Saga. So that's why I think it goes Promise Neverland, Cells at Work, Sarazanmai, Zombieland Saga, and Megalobox.
Okay.
Fair
enough.
I have one last question. So the final scene, the very final scene, I can't remember it now because it was very minimal, but the way I read it, to me it implied that there was a second season. Didn't you guys get that vibe?
No.
I got it. This story is done. That's how I saw it.
Yeah. It would ruin it if there was another season, in my opinion.
I don't know.
I didn't understand. So they were just. I guess I bring it back for that final scene. I know. So Toi got out of jail. He was walking on the bridge and decided to jump off and to kill himself, but not really. And then they were just following him psych, and then he's psych, and then they all laughed about it.
Well, the way I took it was isn't that the same river where they swam through and they saw visions of the future and stuff? So I saw it as this is a very special river to them that connects them.
Yeah, it's their spot. Right on the other side is their soccer area.
Yeah.
But he said, when I think Enta or Kazuki, one of them, finds him, he says, like, you're not going to get rid of us that easily or something like that.
Yeah.
So, did they think that he was going to, he was going to kill himself?
Yeah, that's Toy's classic prank, Hey guys, I want to kill myself. Woo! But they always have to check just in case he does kill himself. But so far, he's only joked so far.
Okay.
Okay. I have nothing else to say. How about you guys?
Nope.
No. As long as, if there's a second sequel, like a sequel after this, I'm going to be like, called it. But that's it.
Okay. Well, good job. Congrats. All right, Coby, would you like to sign us off?
Sure. Thank you guys so much for listening to this finale review of Sarazanmai. It was a wild ride. We enjoyed talking about it. Well, I enjoyed talking about it for the episodes I was a part of, and maybe you guys didn't enjoy it as much as I did. But it was a frustrating, fun, emotional, not very good, but sometimes good anime. Thank you very much for everything. We'll be back once we decide our next weekly anime review. I think it's going to be, what's it called?
Fire Force.
Fire Force. It's going to be Fire Force, which about, fires that people who spontaneously combust and fire demons and firefighters. I don't know what it's about so far. I just know it looks awesome. And we're going to be reviewing that on a week-to-week basis. So you've been listening to this on Nerd Blaze. Like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. We have a lot of cool videos, including weekly reviews of all of these, along with all the past shows that we mentioned. Jeff just did an excellent quick review of Sarazanmai. That looks great. Go check that out. And we also do a podcast called Anime Ricochet, where two dudes who know nothing about sports talk about sports anime. So we got a lot of stuff. Thank you all very much, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.
Bye.